Well, welcome on our side of the fence. I'm super stoked to have you on here today with us. And Sarah and I were talking about this the other day, because this is our 4th or 5th year at Dogwood. But
I think it's our 5th.
Yeah, I think it's 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's my 5th year.
And as far as business relationships go, like, you're almost one of the longest standing ones. And it's funny because at the Home and Garden Show, it's almost a sub-community of all the trades, the artists, the landscapers. And honestly, I look back at all the years too, because Brantley's now 6, turning 7, and I'm like, holy cow! The first year when we set up a little 10x10 booth, like we had him in the stroller the whole time.
He was in front pack, yeah.
Yeah.
And like we met the gentleman that owns the tile company and a few of the landscapers we do a lot of work with that first year. And it's just funny as the years progress. Like, I feel like our friendship, our relationships just, got exponentially better. We've gotten to know a lot of your coworkers and staff. You're actually in a different position now than you were when you started, right?
Yeah.
And it's just everything's blossomed. Obviously we had a troublesome COVID year.
Yeah.
And
Tried to do the digital thing.
But we hung in there.
Yeah.
We hung in there. And it was super exciting to hear when you walked in that you guys sold your last booth.
Yeah, we're sold out this year. It's going to be a full show.
I'm stoked.
So let's back up a little bit, because not all of our listeners are in Knoxville. And although I feel like the Home and Garden Show, or the Dogwood Home and Garden Show, at least if you're a homeowner, everybody knows what it is. But can you just do a little overview of what Dogwood does for the community and what the show specifically does for Dogwood?
So Dogwood Arts, we're a nonprofit here in Knoxville. We do about 20 large annual events and programs, and they range from everything arts and culture to natural beauty to wellness. And so the House and Garden Show it seems like it might be a little bit outside of our mission, but it's actually a super important event for us. It's our largest annual fundraiser. A lot of nonprofits will do like a big gala or a ball every year as a fundraiser, and we don't do that. We use the House and Garden Show as that fundraiser. So the money that we raise from exhibitor booth sales plus attendees helps us put on all of our other events like Chalk Walk, the Dogwood Arts Festival, featured gardens, art kits for kids, all those things for free to the community. So it's one of only 2 events that we charge for attendees, and so everything else we do throughout the year is free.
Is the other one the music festival?
Yeah, Southern Skies.
That's going to be, not to rabbit hole, but you guys have, Maggie Rose is coming?
Old Crow Medicine Show is the headliner.
Dang.
Maggie
That's
Rose
going to
is
be
back.
so good.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun.
And Maggie Rose is coming. I
Yeah.
love her. That's how, I'm like, that's
We've been Maggie Rose fans for, probably since, before the Looking Back Now song came out. Because I got the email about tickets and free sale and all that not too long ago. And I told Sarah, I'm like, I just love everything Dogwood does, because the Chalk Walk is also a big, not that we're just attendees at that point on that, but that's a big weekend
Nobody's
for our
artistic
family
in our
too.
family.
Yeah, no, we're not. But, we have multiple friends that are involved and, bringing their artwork there. Like, even our neighbor's daughter this last year, she had her set up there and she did a fantastic job. And I hate to even say it, but I think Chalk Walk might be my favorite event. Not that I love the House and Garden Show. And I really, we all know that I'll go down there at 5 a.m. and do the deal with the news. And that's always interesting to get in there and fun, and to see all the booths with nobody there is a much different experience. But gosh, y'all, the last few years, the last 5 years that we've been involved, just in, whether it's our partnership with House and Garden Show or attending other events, it just seems like the magnitude of everything has grown and grown and grown. Like the Chalk Walk this year, I could not believe how busy it was.
Yeah, we usually have around 25 to 30,000 people that come through during the day, and if you have any reference, there's about 12,000 that come to House and Garden for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. That event is so funny from a marketing perspective. I don't have to spend a single dollar advertising it, because people just love it so much. And so they just come out every year and really look forward to it. And I love the fact that we have, artists from kindergarten all the way up to professional artists.
Oh, yeah.
There's even chalk artists who kind of tour the country doing these festivals. So we have a few of those that come down. So that's one of my favorite events too.
He's not very artistic. Bless it. But every time we go to the Chalk Walk, he's like, all of a sudden, I'm an artist. Like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to draw this chalk thing. He won't pick up a piece of chalk for the rest of the year, but he really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's great. That's what we're all about, inspiring the next generation of artists.
So circling back around the mission for Dogwood, you mentioned a couple things I didn't know. What do you mean by wellness and natural beauty? I didn't know those two things.
Yeah, so Dogwood Arts actually began with the Dogwood Trails. So there are just over 90 miles of Dogwood Trails throughout Knoxville. The organization got started because a reporter came down in 1955 and wrote, he came from New York, and then he wrote that Knoxville was one of the ugliest cities he'd ever visited.
Oh.
And so,
Dang.
of course, the garden clubs got very upset about that and said, we're going to prove him wrong. They kind of looked to the DC cherry blossoms, like the Cherry Blossom Festival, as kind of a something to look forward to. And so they wanted to do that in Knoxville, but do it with dogwood, since that's a native tree to here. So they started planting dogwood trees all over the city and starting to build those dogwood trails. And that's kind of how we got started.
Is that mostly like neighborhoods or houses that you can follow, like the little pink arrows, right? And,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. They're all residential neighborhoods and all kind of 4 quadrants of the city. All through neighborhoods, and each one is very committed and devoted to the dogwood trails, and they make sure they get their yards cleaned up every year as April approaches. And yeah, it's an awesome. It's great that it still continues to happen every April, and people travel in from all over. We get a lot of phone calls in March, like, do you know the day that the dogwoods are going to bloom? And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be on Tuesday at 4 o'clock.
Tuesday.
Like,
Yeah,
Now-
because we can control that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, I need your biased opinion on which section of the Dogwood Trail is your favorite? Because I have my favorite, 37918. What? Fountain City.
Yeah,
Represent.
I love Fountain City.
But what if somebody was just like, man, I want to go drive the best portion of it? What do you think that would be? What's
Yeah.
best representative?
I think for me, the North Hills Dogwood Trail is my favorite. It has a beautiful boulevard down the
Yeah.
middle.
Wait, don't you live in North Knoxville too, though?
I live in East Knoxville.
Oh wait, yeah, okay.
So don't
sorry.
tell Holston Hills that I said that. But
Okay.
I love all of them, but I think North Hills really feels like authentic. It feels like a Knoxville neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Their garden club has really jumped on and they support Dogwood Arts. They planted over 100 dogwood trees just in the last 10 years. To keep their trail kind of blooming.
And it is beautiful down there through the boulevard, and there's some, geography that's really visually appealing through there, because just the history of that neighborhood as a whole is
Right.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
there's been
architecture's great.
many houses that we've looked at. We've done some work.
I nerd out. Well, we both nerd out over anything real estate, like historic homes and.
Just the story
Oh, I
of a
love it.
neighborhood
It's
that
beautiful.
presents itself, and then you find out it's on. You can. If anybody doesn't know, you can just look down, and if you see the markers on the pink
Yeah,
markers
see the
on
pink
the
lines.
road, then you are on the trail. Because if you ever, Milo's not from Knoxville. You're
No,
from
see,
East-
I didn't realize there were dogwood blooms in different areas of the city. I thought it was just Holston Hills, because I used
yeah.
to just run. I used to live near there, would just run through there, and beautiful area. But it's cool to hear that there's more in
Yeah.
Knoxville.
Yeah, there's
Trails.
13 trails total.
Is Sequoia Hills a trail?
Yeah, I
Okay.
would say that's what if someone's visiting for their first time. I
Yeah.
think Sequoia Hills is probably the one I would send
See
them
the
to.
fountains. You're
Yeah.
at Cherokee Boulevards. I mean, obviously. a
And that
top
one's
hit for
great. That
driving
one's probably
those.
the best one for if you want to get out, if you want to park and walk or bike and things like that. So
Oh yeah. Oh, it probably is.
yeah.
I love that. And then wellness. What does that cover?
Yeah, so we do bikes and blooms and hikes and blooms. So in April, we do a lot of guided wildflower hikes. We do guided community bike rides on the Dogwood Trail. So we'll take you. We did one last year with 2 bikes. We went down into the Island Home Dogwood Trail and stopped at some of those breweries
I
in
love
South
pretty right
Knoxville.
there.
Home
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, so a lot of events like that kind of to look forward to in the spring.
What's your favorite?
Favorite event
Yeah.
of the year?
Because you do all the marketing, right?
Yeah.
Because when we first met you, we became friends instantly.
Yeah.
But you helped organize the Home and Garden Show, right?
Well, I started out at Dogwood as a graphic designer.
Okay,
And
okay.
so that's what my background's in. I don't really have a background in marketing, but in a nonprofit, you just learn to wear many hats. So jumped into the marketing role, and now our team has grown. So I supervise a graphic designer, and we kind of work together on a lot of the elements that you'll see. I think my favorite event throughout the year is probably Chalk Walk too, just because it brings together people from all over the city.
yeah.
And like I said, kindergartners through professional artists. And it's just really fun to see people get super excited about it. And and come out rain or shine and
yeah.
and freezing cold sometimes.
Yeah, that's the
in
wildest
April.
part right there.
Yeah.
'Cause weather barring, I mean, it is just people come out though. People show up.
It was crazy windy last year, and I felt so bad for the artists because their truck was just
Gosh,
like flying
yeah,
up
it
into the
was
air, but they
windy
were
last
like,
It was cold
yeah,
too last year.
You never know with April in Knoxville.
It's
I'm sure from like a marketing standpoint, like visually, well, for one, the Home and Garden Show visually is incredible, but like the chalk walk, to see like the normal like cityscapes behind it and these super vivid pieces on the ground, like it's just really cool to, like with your eye to look at all of it.
Yeah, and I love that they kind of stick around for a few
They-
weeks, so
yeah.
you don't have to be there on the day of. You can come down the next
It's
day or
almost
the week
better the
after.
next. I'm not saying
Yeah,
it's almost
there's not as
better,
many
but
people.
if you're not somebody that's
Yeah.
extremely, like if somebody with young
crowds.
kids, it can be hard to traverse that, or with dogs during that actual day.
Right.
But we've been down there the day after too, and just they're still very well preserved. Like the public, generally speaking, is real respectful not to drag their feet across the portraitscape. So.
Last year, the Knoxville Marathon ran through Market Square the day after, and the runners were very respectful
Oh,
and
were
like
they?
ran in a line around everything. It was
Oh,
nice.
'cause-
We'll have to remember that.
Yeah,
Milo.
they're both
We're
running in the
running that.
Knoxville
Oh, yeah.
Gotta
Marathon.
run around in it.
Yeah,
Got to run around.
You'll see it.
Don't be passing me right there. Don't be passing me.
We usually try to go to brunch the next day somewhere on Market Square and watch everybody run by. So.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh,
See,
that's
that's
a-
what you guys could do when, because
Yeah.
Sarah's like, what am I going to do for
Yeah,
Yeah,
come to brunch with us.
3+
I
hours? I said, well,
would,
that's gonna be
okay,
cool.
I will be there. I love that.
Well, we're just super excited. And, for somebody like Milo, who it's his first year on with us, I'm excited for you to see what really goes on at
Absolutely.
that show and
Yeah.
just to be involved. And it's always like a little immersion of some old friends
Mm-hmm.
for me. We've
Yeah.
watched these other businesses grow. They've watched us grow. And honestly, like your all's entire staff is nothing but willing to go above and beyond for all of the vendors, all of the
Thank you.
attendees. And it's
Yeah.
just, it's my favorite time of year because it's also the turn of our season. We always mark it on the calendar as like, we're going to have our slow season, which is pretty much from Thanksgiving through the first of the year. And then we're full bore into getting ready for the show. Like,
Yeah.
what are we going to do new? Like, you've seen our booth every year. It's
Yeah,
a
it
full
changes
redesign.
all the time. Yeah, I love that.
We don't reuse anything. We just go ahead, budget for that at the beginning of the year. And then go achieve that. And even like Logan, who's our sales manager, we've got a great sales team this year that are just going to be nothing but servant salesmen this
Yeah.
year to people at the show. And we're actually going to have a very interactive display this year
Oh, I
a-
can't wait to
I
tell you
know,
about
I'm
it.
excited.
with the
Okay.
Very
dig
exciting
contest.
Yeah,
So been there, dug that. We're gonna go ahead and get some
Nice.
video shot before the show of some of our in-house staff
Yeah.
members here, seeing how quick we can dig a 2-foot hole, and you're gonna get a prize if you can beat any of us. So
Cool. That's
It's gonna
awesome.
be- yeah.
I love the interactive part. I think the
we
booths that
expect
do
you
that.
up there.
Right?
Yeah,
Up there on
100%.
our mini
You
stage.
can
Yeah.
you get to like choose who you dig, like who you,
Who you're
and there's
against.
going to be like different videos. Yeah, so you
Oh,
can be like,
gosh.
oh, you want to see if you can dig a hole faster than like Tim or like one
Yeah.
of our installers. So it'll be really fun. I'm
Yeah, that's
excited.
That'll be good.
I'm curious about some like logistics of Dogwood because or of I guess I should probably call it the Home and Garden Show. Here we call it
The
Dogwood.
house and garden.
The
show.
House and Garden
House
Show.
and
Yeah, you're right. Okay. So when you walk in, it is so elaborate because you guys have all of the big landscape companies in town. And just to like, for listeners to put a visualize to it, like these landscape companies come in and set up like full on backyards. Like there's real plants and like real bark.
There's ponds.
Yeah,
There's
water
Don't people bring
ponds.
koi fish sometimes too? Or am I making
there's
that?
Yeah,
They're
koi
okay, they are.
fish. There's huge real trees that are there. Like it is so elaborate
It's
in
incredible.
my mind. Like when do so the we're sitting here. It's Tuesday. The show's next weekend. When do those landscapers get to come and start setting up?
So they don't get to come in until Monday morning. So they're so fast. they set up Monday and then we try to have them finished by Tuesday evening. So a lot of times they'll work, 18-hour days
Yeah.
Monday and Tuesday to get everything done. But I think that's really what sets our show apart from
Oh, it's
others in
incredible.
town is like
Yeah.
we have those gardens. And I think, like you said, it is kind of a turning point for us too. It's kind of stepping out of winter into spring.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of shows people or signifies to people that spring's on its way and it's time to start thinking about those
Yeah.
home projects. But yeah, it's amazing to come down. I usually try to go on Monday morning just to see the landscapers kind of starting to come in, bringing in their giant boulders
Oh.
and trees and all of that, and then get to watch it, throughout the
Oh,
next couple of
'Cause
days. It's awesome.
You even have them building like pergolas and roof systems. Like these, they bring their carpenters out, and I was amazed on that the first year. And I thought, we just did the table and some samples, and like the first day when we set up, I'm like, next year this is gonna be totally different. We need a bigger
You're like, now that
booth.
I've seen it, I know
want to
it,
build, because we use the term fence garden a lot. At any location we've been, we've tried to have like a very interactive display in front of our building for
Yeah.
you to come see our fence styles. It's garden pretty nice. You probably noticed we're
Yeah.
redoing ours right now for the season, and that's something too. We change that about every year. Fresh wood, fresh samples. And that's what I like to bring to the show, because the touch and feel, the bar was set so high by the landscape companies that everybody else, like you even have people like the Foundation waterproofing companies, where they've designed trailers that fold out and you can see the lift systems and the jack systems, and the closet companies with everything right there. My personal favorite is the squeegee mop people.
Oh my gosh, she sells those mops.
Man!
Shoot, she's slanging them out
Every
the
single
door.
person you see leaving has one
Oh,
of those.
absolutely. And like we invite friends to come to the show, and we're like, hey, like I'm thinking of the Ed and Leslie Ford
yeah.
came. They want to just come see us and love on us, and sure enough, I think they walked out with 5 or 6 sets. And
Of the
I feel like I
squeegee
buy
thing.
one every year. I'm like, I don't know why I buy
don't know
one
why.
of these. I have so many.
you're like, I might have some more dog hair that
Yeah,
gets swept
yeah.
out of the
Yeah.
garage.
Yeah.
And those people always really stand out, and because you get everything from just information, like not an unmanned booth, but somebody that you don't have a sales professionals there, and it's strictly informational, to somebody that's wearing a microphone, has a speaker, and they're doing a knife demo or the sweep demo. And I really think even for other business owners to come down, especially newer entrepreneurs, people that are learning how to sell, and you can literally get a taste of every single style of sales out there.
Yeah.
Everything from, there's real estate agents, there's financial advisors, lenders, the utility companies are typically there. I mean, I know the people that bring the tractors. I'm not sure if that's AgriFab or who brings all
AgPro.
those. AgPro. Okay, Brantley's favorite booth right there.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, all right,
I'm
Daddy,
going to get on these.
which one are we getting? I said, I don't want to have this conversation in front of their sales member.
Yeah.
Someday when we buy one, it will be here.
Yeah.
But it's not this year.
Yeah.
They even have the kids zone. You guys have done a fantastic job for me and Sarah personally, keeping our
keeping the kids
growing
entertained.
Oh,
kid
yeah.
busy.
Every year there's something, which I think is so, okay. So being in the service industry, oh, Jane, my goodness, she's so excited today.
She's excited for the show.
But being in the service industry, like we've done other home shows. And so like a typical home show is like you sit at a chair in your 10x10 booth and you have like a pop-up behind you.
They spray that stuff in the air at the other ones.
100%.
Where Bed Bath & Beyond has it, where it makes you fall asleep.
Yeah, I
really
don't know what
quickly.
that stuff is,
Yeah.
but they do that and it's miserable and it's like the longest, miserablest weekend of your life. But at Dogwood, I know you guys like market. There's something for everybody,
Yeah.
but truly, like for mamas, there's those squeegee things that we already talked about.
No
There's
wax, yeah.
there's like the plant trolley. Is the plant trolley coming again?
Yep, she'll be
The
there.
plant
Love
trolley.
'em.
Oh,
The ice
They're
cream
awesome.
guy. Remember the ice
oh,
cream
yeah,
guy
is the
last
ice
year?
cream guy
He's
coming?
Trent, I think he is coming.
He lives right over here. He's
Yeah.
in the city.
Like there's live plants you can walk away with, and our son, like legit, you have our 6-year-old who every year he's like, it's the Dogwood show next weekend. Oh, am I going to get to play in the kids zone? And like you even have staff
the
like
kids spend some money there too.
Oh yeah.
I can't tell you how many plants we bought last year because he's like, I'm just gonna give him money at the beginning of the show. But like, listen, like this
This is it for the whole
This
weekend.
is it. Like
Yeah.
if you go buy 13 plants from the plant trolley, like buddy,
That's it.
all I'm telling you is you're carrying them to the car. I ain't
Yeah.
carrying them. I love you.
The Kids Zone is carnival themed this year, so there'll be a lot of carnival games and things like that.
Oh,
so
is
he'll
it?
like that.
Do you do that? Well, no, you do marketing. You don't. That's probably somebody else that does kids zone,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
We have a really awesome. So there's only 6 Dogwood staff full time. So
No way. Seriously?
yeah, so all of our big events like this are kind of ran by volunteer committees. So we're so blessed with amazing volunteers, and so we always find some that are really passionate about kids activities and things like that. So
There's
they
always
always
one.
make it really special.
Yeah. Well, and I even like trust it. So like now things have changed to where like Tim and I don't have to work the booth the whole weekend, but there was a couple years that we did, and
kinda
like
stuck in there.
Yeah, and like Brantley would just play in the kids zone, and I'm like, he's safe. Like I know he's fine.
Yeah.
That's the other fun thing is like all the vendors have kids, and their kids are there all weekend because we're all entrepreneurs and we all have to like just mix
make
it
it
all
work.
together, and the kids like run around in a pack, and like it is so cool.
Yeah, I think what you said earlier about like meeting other business owners, that's something that I love to watch at the show too, and like seeing some of the collaborations that have come out of the show of
Yeah.
you know, deck and fence companies working with landscapers or you know, the pool people and getting pools installed and the fence put up. You know, it's cool to see all those collaborations, and I think it does feel, you know, especially for. We've been doing the show now for 47 years. This is the 47th year. So a lot of these people, you know, have been doing it for years and years and years, and it kind of does feel like a reunion for them too.
Not that I want the time to go by fast, but I can't wait till like it's our 20th year, you know,
Yeah.
and like, and there's some other young business owners, and we're just like, you know, like just stick. Yeah, I don't know. Like part of that too is like we've had people pour into us from the Home and Garden Show, and you know, been staples of referring us business, speaking highly of us, and vice versa. And like honestly, it's like it's a networking group, it's a family, it's a community, and you know, I think especially like post-pandemic Tim and Sarah's life, like it's you know, at times it's hard to emerge back into culture, you know, of what
Right.
used to be, especially if you move geographic locations where you live. But it's fun every year going back, and those setup days, like somebody needs a tool, I'm like, yeah, I got skill saws in the truck, just grab one. Oh, you need a ladder, you need help standing that display back up, and like, because we always bring 4, 5, 6 people down there, and it's just even outside of the show, I'm like, these are good people. Like, these are great, ethical people filled with integrity.
I think that's something we want our attendees to know too. It's like these businesses are local, like businesses that we as Dogwood Arts trust, and we're not just letting anybody into the show, you know. And so we want you to feel like, you know, you're coming down and really talking to the people who are gonna do your projects and do them right, and
Because
stand
it's
by their
hard
work.
to hire somebody, too.
Yeah.
Because it's also, you know, like, more than ever now, we probably hire other contractors to do work around our house or an investment property or whatever that might be. Because I like the customer experience of hiring somebody else too. Just, okay, wow, that's really cool. Like we're interviewing with a new program to integrate within our business right now, because the water filtration company we use.
That's at
used
Dogwood.
it. Is AquaClear coming this year?
Aquaclear's at
Okay, so
Dogwood.
we
That's
used
how we
them.
met them.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're-
See, collaboration.
And they're great, and you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, I believe for a client, if they can come down to a show, you know, especially one that y'all put on, and meet the contractor face to face, like you can usually meet a manager, an owner, a sales rep right there.
Yeah.
And there's credibility instantly,
Yeah.
because you're not like, well, the only thing I really got for you to see my works, I'll send you some pictures on Facebook, you
Yeah.
know, and I posted them on Marketplace, like you didn't see them.
You didn't see that?
How do you guys do that? Because like in Knoxville, we thought this was interesting. Like Tim's Fencing has gotten well, marketing wise, one of the hurdles we had to learn how to jump was to still present as though like we're a local company, because we're big, but we're still local. Like
Yeah.
Tim and I live in Knoxville. Like we're not.
We're no franchise.
We're no
Yeah.
franchise. But how does Dogwood do that? Because everybody, I mean, there's a couple franchises that go, but for the most part, it really is local businesses that are there.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely kind of vet everyone that applies, and so it's an application process.
Yeah.
It's not just sign up and you get to come in. And so, you know, we have an exhibitor support team, and they'll kind of do some research on the companies. If it's someone that's not like right in the home and garden kind of vein, then we'll, you know, call them, talk through what their services are. If it's something we think our attendees could benefit from, then sure, come on in. But you know, I think a lot of shows have like the as seen on TV booths and things like that. So
Yeah.
we also don't want aggressive sellers. You know, we don't want people to feel like,
those people that do like all the hair products.
yeah, we don't want attendees to feel like pressured to come into a booth or to buy something that they don't want to buy. And so it's kind of, you know, also after doing it for so many years, you kind of start to know what those businesses look like. And if they come in and we don't have a good experience with them, then they're not going to come back next year. So
There you
it
go.
also sounds like
Quality
you guys,
control.
There you go. Laying down the hammer.
I wouldn't be surprised then, just from hearing about the sellout this year. Like, it could be an instance where there could almost be a wait list. Like, you guys,
Yeah,
there's
that would be awesome.
There's such a demand for it because you guys have done so well with everything. And like, I think about that too. It's like, obviously there's only so many 20 by 20 or 30 by 30 booths that could be there on top of all of the smaller ones where
Yeah.
I think that's such a cool problem to have. They'd be like, man, we're going to sell out by this date. So, and it's always great too, like talking about renewals before the show's over for the vendors.
Yeah.
And I really just sit back and look, and because, like Sarah said, we used to do other shows, and like we're strictly, as far as, this style of home show, like you guys are it, because I mean, 100 to 1, it's better than any of the other competitive for-profit shows in town.
Yeah.
And honestly, I just can't wait to see it get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because I think the public knows that this is a trusted show. And even for the vendors, like there can be multiple people per genre. Like there'll be other fence companies there.
Yeah.
And that's great because, not every time is Tim's Fencing going to be
Yeah,
somebody's
it's a little
cup of
healthy
tea.
competition.
Absolutely. And, especially when there's, some people that are more owner operator, like some buyers just prefer that experience. And I respect that. A lot of times when we hire a contractor to work on our house, like I prefer an owner operator too. And it's just, but at the end of the day, like we're all at the show, everybody's kosher, there's not any, like we've never had, very few even little things go up with a competitor. And it's usually like something that was misrepresented in the past. It's usually, but I like, like especially Foothills Fence, like me and Jack will always cut up for quite a bit every day. And, we've bumped into each other for years. And,
We ran into that last year in the maker market. We had 2 candle companies, and we were a little nervous about that because only so many candles. But then they came out with a line after that,
Really?
a collaboration line. So
cool.
Did they really?
Yeah, it was Riverbend Candle and 865 Candle. So I think that's really cool when competitors can kind of work together and have
that's
that
awesome.
that relationship.
I have. Oh,
no, go ahead.
well, I'm switching topics. You want to
Switch top.
Okay. I had questions about the maker market too. So I love that because it's like a little mini like farmers market.
Yeah.
Well, obviously there's not fruits and veggies there, but
Yeah.
a little mini farmers market in there. Well, is there anything cool this year like that? Last year there was that glass blower girl with the thing that was like, is there anything that you're like, this is going to be so cool?
Well, the thing that I really like that's relatively new, we started it last year, but this year it's a lot bigger, is the workshops that we offer over there. So we're trying to get some of the makers to kind of teach these workshops to, inspire people to learn a different craft. And so
What? I missed all these.
Well,
Was I working?
We were
probably.
somebody was sick last year during Dogwood, so we subbed out some of our shifts last year, and I think that's when the makers market was.
Oh.
But I think because Knoxville's kind of the maker city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Knoxville's a maker city, and that's something with Dogwood. I think a lot of trade shows across the country are not doing well, and it's it's not something that people are just like, hey, we should do a trade show. So we've got to find ways to kind of keep it fresh and bringing them things like the maker market, the kids area, the stage, with different entertainment throughout the weekend. It's just we have to keep it fresh every year and
Yeah.
create something that attendees want to come to every year, even if they don't have a home project in mind. And I think the maker market definitely does that. There's not a lot of opportunity in February for these makers because a lot of the markets in town are outside. So we're always really excited to be able to bring 10,000 people down to see their work as well.
I'm
What are-
excited to see their work.
What are some
love it.
workshops this year?
We have 2 different candle making workshops. So if you want to create your own scent and make a candle, we have Board and Brush is a
I love
like a
them.
DIY group
Yeah.
in town. So they're doing 2 workshops on Sunday. We have a really cool Valentine's Valentine's Day is right after the show, so we have a Valentine's bouquet. Yeah, always. Sometimes during the show.
Yeah.
So we have a Valentine's Day bouquet workshop with Wither and Bloom.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of really cool, and there's multiple per day. So definitely check those out before the show.
I love it. When we moved here, because we're from Portland,
Mm-hmm.
Oregon. When we moved here, the like maker aspect of Knoxville just makes me feel like home a little bit. It makes me a little
Absolutely.
homesick because that's very like Portland
Yeah, it's the
culture
vibe.
it's the vibe.
Yeah.
Honestly, the whole house and garden show has a very like
That
back
artsy,
home vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, I eat that shit up. Oh, I love it so much.
We were doing so good. I'm not putting.
Oh,
an
I'm
expletive
sorry.
Rating on this. We were doing so
Language.
So I'm
Just
gonna
yeah.
beep that out.
Do you think we could make a fence scented candle this year?
Pet
Oh,
Senate.
Like a cedar or
I mean,
something?
I'd almost and I love cedar
Yeah,
fencing.
people
I
would
wish
love
it was
that,
more
yeah.
prevalent in the South, but I think they could definitely do. Honestly, when I go to Target or wherever I'm buying body soap, just in my journey, I'm always like cedar, cypress, sandalwood. Like that's the and Sarah.
You don't get enough of that at work?
Yeah,
You want to
right.
smell like it all the time?
Yeah, he got.
Like this morning, I got a new body, so I was out TMI, I guess, and my old body soap was cedar scented, and this new one I went off the path.
No, I
and
picked it out for you.
It was more florally, and I squirted it in my hand. I go, I'll use it.
It's like it's a beachy.
guess.
It is
So-
beachy, which I like salt water. I love salt water, but
I-
It's hard to
It's
tell
not.
if you're clean or if you've just been at work.
Yeah,
So you need something
no,
to switch it up.
a famous Sarah quote is when we were dating in high school. And I'd always kind of worked for myself in the trades to some degree or the other, and I pick her up. She's like, "You smell musky, but not in a sexy way."
But not in a good way. That's
So I
hilarious.
think when she smells that, she's like, "You smell like work. You smell like work right now."
Okay, I have one last question.
Yeah.
Is it Sherry who does all of the like design? Like when you first walk in, you know, that whole setup. Is that?
Who
Oh,
does
like the entryway?
Yeah, the
beautification
entryway.
down there.
Yeah, so Vicky Baumgartner, she's our Trails and Gardens manager, so
Okay.
she's like kind of in charge of everything blooming. And she works with all the landscapers.
Please
She's-
tell me her job says that. She's in
I
charge
know.
of everything.
We call her the
blooming.
Bloom Queen. So yeah, and when she does interviews, people just call her like Vicky Dogwood because she's
Dogwood.
been involved with Dogwood for a very long
Oh
time.
my
but-
gosh, that's magical. I
Yeah.
want my name to be something like that. The Fence Queen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the same. It's not the same. I don't want it.
Doesn't
I don't
have
want
the
that
same ring
title.
to it.
No, I don't want it.
Picket princess.
Yeah, her, and then we, again, with the volunteer committee, we have some really talented, creative volunteers who kind of get inspired and come up with something different at
Well,
the entrance every year.
I was obsessed with what they did last year with the trash. Well, not it wasn't trash. The
Oh, yeah,
recycled was that last year or the year before?
It was the year before.
All the recycled.
Yes.
This woman made flowers out of trash, and it was the most beautiful thing I've seen in my entire life.
Yeah, we pretty much bought all the Dollar Generals out of all of their like cleaning supplies, all that kind of stuff, and turned it into
Turned it into it was magical.
Well, it's very difficult to find live plants and live flowers in February unless
Okay.
you have the like nurseries like force bloom them.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of what we came up with because we were like, well, we can't buy the flowers, so we'll just make them.
What are you doing this year? Or do you know? That's not really your team.
He can't
Yeah.
reveal it. People are.
Oh,
Well, I mean, you all are very
Maybe a
involved in
little
the
sneak
entry this
peek.
year, so that's something.
Okay.
Can I admit
Of your-
something shameful here?
What?
I'm so ashamed that last year I never walked through the front doors until it was tear down time, and then I finally walked up.
Well, you get there so early normally that
I come in
they're
the
not
back
even open.
every time
yeah.
I come in the back, and I like to have a little skerfuffle with security down below on a confusion on why I need in at like dark 30. But I was so ashamed that I never. That was and honestly, every time I walked in, I'm like, I'm gonna just come through the normal way, get through, use ticket, whatever I have to do, because that entry and like that's the guest experience too. Like the way we make decisions here is so customer eccentric that I really want to know the guest experience of anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't even walk through the dang main entrance of
Well,
the home show.
This
while it
year,
was
this is
open.
your year.
That's it.
I thought you did it intentionally. I thought you intentionally didn't walk through the front because
No, I think it was just such a weird year. That's why I can't remember. Somebody was sick, or we had something almost emergency pop up during the show where like we were in and out more often. And
well, Sherry didn't ask us to rebuild the fence panels last year,
Oh yeah.
and
2 pickets looked horrible.
and yeah, and
So
so,
you're like, I don't want to
they-
see it.
I
Well,
it from
well,
100
Tim
feet.
we just assumed you guys were doing something different, right? And so then we got there and the fence panels are there, and Tim's like, "Oh no!" Like he wanted to adjust them, but they were already like beautified by the
Well,
whole team.
oh, that's right. I did go up there.
Yeah.
Either
That's
right
why I
before
thought
or
you
right
didn't.
after the show ended for a day, and I'm like, is there any way I could fix this? But like with everything that was decorated on the face of it, I'm like, I'm gonna have to take half their stuff down.
Yeah,
to fix
so
this.
we just left
That's when
it.
I'm like, Sarah, please talk to them about us just rebuilding this
Mm-hmm.
every year. Like I love that they're reusing it. I love the
Yeah.
recycle. I'll donate it to whoever if they want it. But Man,
Yeah.
I just
Well, it's going to look great this year.
we'll make
So,
it.
What
We'll
are they?
make it.
Is there like a elaborate idea this year?
We've got, I don't want to give, I mean, you remember
Oh,
the year with
please.
that giant house? That was my favorite year with the white, like,
Oh,
fabric.
yeah.
We're not bringing that back, but there's some cool, like, lighting design that's going to happen out there this year. You all are the presenting sponsor, so we have some cool, engagements for you all out there as well. It's going to be fun.
That's
That'll
wild.
be
I
cool.
have to tell you something. This is kind of embarrassing. And I cried yesterday on the freaking podcast that we recorded that dropped today. Anyways, I won't cry. But it is such a wild, like I remember our first year with Dogwood, the business was pretty new. To be honest, definitely was not the cheapest like show
Yeah.
to be at in town, and we cut the check, and it hurt to cut that check the
I
first
think
year
we
to
cut
be
a
there.
personal check the first
We cut a
year.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh goodness, like this is so expensive, but like I wanted to go so bad, so we went. We paid and then this year we were able to be the presenting sponsor. It's like it was just such a like full circle business
Yeah.
moment that I like teared up when I like sent the check to like fill out the paperwork. I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's incredible. And that was my first year too.
Yeah.
When you all were there, and so it's been so cool to see how your business has grown.
Thank you.
It's been wild. It's
yeah.
been a ride.
It sounds like this show has grown quite a bit too. I mean, before we were recording, you said you guys were 150 vendors last year, and
And
how
we're
many
closer
you
to 50 this year.
have? That's
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh
We
yeah,
have-
you missed that. Oh yeah.
We have over 50. It's like almost 55 brand new businesses who've never
That's
been in the
awesome.
show. So similar experience to you. I hope that
Oh, I-
in five, 6 years we see
Yeah.
them growing.
It's like,
Oh,
where
I
would it go
can't.
next? You guys just gonna put it in Neyland or what? Yeah.
That'd be
Wait,
2 weekends. In
is that 250 vendors? Does that include like Maker's Way and okay? So
yeah, that
that's
includes
not
the makers and community orgs.
Okay.
So around 200 actual like home and garden
Wow.
businesses this year.
I love
So
that.
it's a lot.
How are you going to fit everybody? We're going to need
It's
it.
going to be packed. If you've
Now
been before,
I
it's
honestly
packed.
am feeling a little guilty about
Yeah, me too.
demanding such a large
Yeah, me
booth.
too. Immediately.
No, you're-
Immediate guilt about
A
that.
little guilt about
We,
that.
we're
Yeah.
not, we haven't had to turn anybody away, so don't worry about that.
Next
I
year
can
we're
give
gonna
up 5 by 5.
yeah.
I can give up 5 feet.
Make sure they're cool and they can share with
Yeah,
us.
exactly.
Like, who was it? Dylan. Who's the realtor that was across from us? Dylan.
Oh yeah, Dylan Martin.
Is he
Dylan-
coming back?
Yep.
Do you
He'll
know
be right
what's-
by? He'll be right near us as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Him and his wife, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, him and his wife are partners in real estate, and it's funny because I got my private pilot's license. I've been working on it,
Oh,
so I got
cool.
that done, and it's actually funny because as I was finishing up, he started with the same instructor.
Oh, cool.
That I was using in Dylan. Everything I've been told, great realtor. First of all, he's a great guy too, but I guess he's a really good pilot.
That's awesome.
His CFI's like he's amazing.
Yeah, he's one of
Natural.
our trail sponsors too. So he's
Is he?
He's involved with Dogwood
Love
all throughout the year.
He's He's the
Oh,
man.
I want to do that. God, I just
We
honest.
sponsor all the
It
things.
You just gotta
like,
call
tickles
us.
me.
Yeah, what about the
I
music
love-
festival?
Oh, yeah.
The music
How-
festival's fun.
How
I
do we
went
get
in
some
21.
tickets to the
You went in
music
21.
festival?
I'm
Yeah, it was
okay.
really fun.
Yeah, let's talk about that really quick because I want to go to the music festival really bad. Is
Yeah.
it sold out already?
Nope,
Oh.
it's not sold out. It's on Saturday, May 11th.
Oh, that's-
yeah.
Day
If you like
before Brantley's
whiskey, we have a
birthday.
new Tennessee whiskey experience this year at
Okay.
that. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Let's go.
And there's
Damn.
sort of like a maker's market in there too, right?
Yeah, we try to do the maker market at pretty much every event just to kind of give them a space to showcase their work. So
Well, the artists are your roots. Like that's
Exactly.
your soul right there.
Oh, I thought of something earlier I wanted to talk about. The preservation of art. Because you and I were even talking about, like, back in the day, turn of the century, like, they were really large name brand artists. And now I feel like, especially with technology and Etsy and other, like, makers websites where you can buy and sell, like, I feel like the market is, you can get way more original pieces because we have a larger selection of artists just nationwide on top of very different mediums to buy art.
Right.
Like, how do you think that kind of translates into what you guys do for the artists? Like, when you think about it, is the beautiful part of it for Dogwood more of the fact that these larger local artists get spotlight, or is it just being able to share art with hundreds and thousands of different artists? Like, because I was thinking about that in two different ways, and thinking about the makers markets, and I'm like, I just think it's cool that I can walk in there, meet somebody I've never met, and I'm like, you just did the best woodworking cutting board I've seen in my life.
yeah.
But what do you guys think about that? Like, as your guys' mission as, so much supporting the arts. Like, what's the most exciting part about that for you and working with the artists?
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned earlier, Knoxville is the maker city, and so one of my favorite parts about Dogwood is that we're really connecting artists with opportunities, and so we're allowing them to make that their full-time job. That's a dream for so many people, and so being able to see, similar to seeing your all's business grow, seeing a lot of these artists who are still working full-time and doing their art on the side, but then they've been in the Dogwood Arts Festival for a few years, and then they're going full-time artists. And so I think I love, giving them opportunities to pursue their work and their passion as a full-time job and to make a career out of it. So we have such great connections with businesses from the House and Garden Show and from other events that if someone calls and they're like, hey, we want a mural on the side of our building, or we have a fence and we want to get it painted or anything like that, we can connect artists with those business owners who can facilitate those experiences for them. So I think that's a really exciting part for me. The other side of it, I think we do a lot of youth-based art programs. So one thing that we're really passionate about is inspiring young artists to continue pursuing art. So with our Art Kits for Kids program, that was kind of born out of COVID, to give students art supplies at home if they didn't have access to them. And so, encouraging them to continue taking art and seeing, if they come to the Dogwood Arts Festival and they see a professional artist making a living and realizing that they can also do that, I think that's one of the more rewarding sides of working for Dogwood.
I leave the show and I'm like, all right, life goals, tiny house. Sarah's gonna be a flower headband girl. Sell everything.
That's my goal.
Like, ask Sarah. This is like me
That is
once
my
a year.
goal.
I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with all of it. No, and I'm not saying this. This is not create volatility within Tim's fencing. But I'm like, let's sell it all. I want to buy a bus or an RV. I'm not opposed to either. It's gonna need to be pretty big because we got the dogs. We got some chickens. I'd want to bring them with us. And I'm not much of an artist, but I'm a handyman. I'll do handyman work in whatever campground we're living in. Sarah does the flower headbands.
You could sell those at our music festival.
See?
Honestly, it's my dream.
There you go.
That's
There
all
you
I
go.
want. I just make flower headbands for music.
That sounds great. That's a good dream. I like it.
Thanks. I'll get there someday.
Well, to wrap it all up and put a bow on it, what are the days and the hours that people could come by
And how we can
House
get
and Garden
tickets.
show?
Yeah.
Tickets, yes.
Yeah, so the House and Garden Show, it's at the Knoxville Convention Center, February 9th to the 11th. Friday and Saturday we're open from 10 to 6, and Sunday we're open from 10 to 4, so you can get home in plenty of time for the Super Bowl.
Oh, is that on Sunday?
It's on Sunday.
Darn. Okay.
You can buy tickets at the door, or you can visit dogwoodarts.com. I really encourage you to go to the website and see some of the workshops that are happening. You can buy tickets for those. That includes your admission to the show, and see who's coming up on stage. We have a really great lineup of speakers. We have live music to close the show out every night. So
Is
definitely come on
that
down.
that guy coming? Milo, you would know what guy I'm talking about.
Brian Clay?
The one that tells the tale of Tennessee.
Oh, Bill Landry.
Bill Landry.
He's not coming
Do you
this year,
know Bill
but
You don't know? Oh, I figured you would.
yeah, we have the Master Gardener from the Biltmore coming, so excited to hear from him.
Wow.
Yeah, and the Master Gardener at Blackberry Farm will be there as
very
well.
cool.
So we've got some. If you're into gardening at all, we've got some really great speakers.
I wish I was, but I can't keep anything alive.
Maybe
it's
they
this
can
succulent.
teach you.
Yeah, maybe they
We're
can
great
too.
with succulents.
Well,
And these, look at
Yeah, that was
yeah,
great.
look at all
grass
the
in here.
greenery
Yeah, the
in
grass
here.
in here looks
This
great.
is my kind of greenery.
No weeds. Perfect.
And you guys are going to be on WATE together on Thursday.
Yeah, be on Living East Tennessee on Thursday.
Are you doing around the house then this weekend too?
We did it last weekend.
You did it last
Yeah.
weekend. Okay.
It's always fun. It's
That's
just the
it.
lineup. It's the busy time.
Yep.
I love it. Well,
I'm
I
sure
just-
I'll be calling you for a 4 a.m. call during the show as well.
Just get here. Gotta make me down here. And then, yeah, because Victoria from WATE, that's where I met her. God, it was probably one of her first years too.
Yeah, she came down and did the weather in the morning.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She's great.
I love her. She's
great.
awesome.
She is fun. Well, I appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, thanks
and
for
I'm
having me. This was
excited
fun.
to see you quite a bit the next
Yeah.
couple weeks, and
Yeah.
we'll keep on keeping on.
Yeah. Excited to see everybody at the show.
Thank you.